Good morning, welcome to our perspective. Here is the breaking news. Yes, from Bali, Indonesia. Russia's international isolation grew Wednesday as world leaders sought to gain an enormous support in condemning its war in Ukraine that has killed thousands of people and roiled the global economy. At the Group of 20 summit in Bali, Indonesia, scrutiny fell on China and India as Western countries pushed for a strong denunciation of the war in a closing statement that was due just hours after Poland said a Russian-made missile had landed in a village near its border with Ukraine, killing 2 people. It remains unclear who fired the missile, but both Russian and Ukrainian forces have used Russian-made munitions during the conflict, with Ukraine deploying Russian-made missiles as part of their air defense system. But whatever the outcome of the investigation into the deadly strike, the incident underscored the danger of miscalculation in a brutal war that has stretched on for nearly 9 months and which risks escalating further and dragging major powers into it. Waking up to the news, US President Joe Biden and leaders from the G7 and NATO convened an emergency meeting in Bali to discuss the explosion. The incident now raises the stakes in an effort by the US and its allies to hear the G20 summit with a joint communique denouncing Russia's war. The passing of the communique would require to by inform leaders that share close ties with Russian President Vladimir Putin and have until now seemed reluctant to outwardly criticize his invasion. Most notable, Chinese leader Xi Jinping, who declared a no-limits friendship between their countries weeks before the invasion, and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. With the summit set to draw to a close on Wednesday afternoon, all eyes are on what the final declaration will look like and which countries will sign it. While India is seen to have distanced itself from Russia, whether there has been any shift of position from China is less clear. Chinese leader Xi Jinping has called for a ceasefire and agreed to oppose the use of nuclear weapons in a flurry of bilateral meetings with Western leaders on the sidelines of G20, but he has given no public indication of any commitment to pursue his close friend Vladimir Putin to end the war. What's certain in Russia's foreign minister Sergei Lavrov will not be there to see it. He left Bali on Tuesday night, according to Russian state-owned news agency TASS. A draft of the statement, which is still subject to changes, deplores in the strongest terms the aggression by the Russian Federation against Ukraine and demands its complete and unconditional withdrawal from the territory of Ukraine. But it also acknowledges the rift among members. Said most members strongly condemned the war in Ukraine and stressed it is causing immense human suffering and exacerbating existing fragilities in the global economy. It said there were other views and different assessment of the situation and sanction. It is apparent where the diverging views and assessments are coming from. Since Russian tanks rolled into Ukraine in February, Beijing has refused to label the military aggression as an invasion or war, and the amplified Russian propaganda blaming the conflict on NATO and the US while decrying sanctions. When discussing Ukraine with leaders from the US, France and other nations, Xi invariably stuck to terms such as the Ukraine crisis or the Ukraine issue and avoided the word war, according to Chinese readout. In those meetings, Xi reiterated China's call for a ceasefire through dialogue and, according to readouts from his interlocutors, agreed to oppose the use of nuclear weapons in Ukraine. But those remarks are not included in China's account of the talk. China's foreign minister Wang Yi later told Chinese state media that Xi had reiterated Chinese opposition in his meeting with Biden and that nuclear weapon cannot be used and a nuclear war cannot be fought. Beyond the report,